Alright, what's going on, guys? So today I have actually a really cool lab for you guys. This is going to build on yesterday. So this is where we're getting deeper into the labs, and we're going to start, you're going to notice that they're building upon each other. So if you aren't watching the old ones, I'll try and reference back to the video that you need to see to get to where we're at. But I can't always guarantee that I'll remember like some of the older ones, you know what I mean? So this one, watch the last video if you didn't watch it, because that's going to explain how we do this to get to the point where I'm going to continue. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do the exact same exploit as yesterday to take over my Windows machine. Instead of using VNC to actually show you how to use it, I'm going to show you a couple of neat tricks you can do and ways to kind of use meterpreter a little bit once you have a shell. Just things that you can do that you can check and see for yourself. So you can see here we have the meterpreter shell, or the the Metasploit multi-handler running, and it's listening right now on that port for something. Okay, so if just to kind of walk through what we did, I have on my Linux machine, on this machine here, I have a Apache server running, which this is the Apache server. Okay, and I'll show you here just kind of a recap of yesterday. Okay, so there you go. There's your Apache server main page. I created a folder in there called share, and there's a test.exe folder. When you open it, it doesn't look like it does anything, but it actually started this shell. So we got a shell. So now we're on, and you can see, because you can see this is my IP right here on my Kali machine, 192.168.94128. So now if we do ipconfig, you can see that's no longer our IP address. Our IP address is different. Okay, so that's showing that we're on a different machine. Now we'll do get UID, so we can see that that we're logged in as this user, right? I know for a fact that user is an admin because I made it an admin. Okay, so that's how. So now I know we have admin access. Usually that would be called /admin, something like that. But there's ways to escalate privileges, and we're going to cover those too. But for now, just do it as an admin. For what I'm going to show you, you probably don't need admin access. But basically, what I did is I went ahead and I hid. So we'll do present working directory, and we're in the downloads. Okay, so we list what's in downloads, right? Okay, so we've got test.exe. Okay, so kind of interesting here. You see this one that says creditcard.txt. So first thing I'm going to show you here, okay, and I'm going to show it to you. Basically, there's two things I'm going to show you. First, I'm going to show you just basic stuff, but that creditcard.txt would be interesting in a real test, right? So first, we're going to do sisinfo, and you can see what we get. We get some information. Obviously, we already know that this is a 86-bit Windows 10 version because we hacked into it. But what we don't know is we don't know the domain without looking. So granted, I would have already known the domain if I was accessing this, most likely. But just in case, you get a little bit of information, and you can see that I'm running on a Windows machine now, so we know it worked, right? So that's another way. Sysinfo is just a good way to get generic information real fast and see what you're doing. So now, before we go into that creditcard.txt file, you can see the last modified, right? It was 2020, 110, 1927, 28, right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually, we're going to basically do what's called a time to MP, okay? So what that's going to do is you're basically going to say, show me not just last time it's modified, but accessed, all that stuff, right? So what we're doing, time to MP, and then we're just going to do the, now keep in mind you have to be in the directory that you're looking for. So like if I went to the C drive, it probably wouldn't find that creditcard.txt. So we'll do creditcard.txt. Since I'm in the downloads folder with it, it'll work. And then we're just going to do -v. Okay, didn't work. Not sure. Did I spell it wrong? Oh yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I put time to MP. It's time time s, excuse me, time stomp Okay, so you can see here it was last modified, accessed, created, and everything at the same time. Okay, that's good, right? What we're looking for here is when we access this, um, this if we access this or if we download it, if we do whatever we want to do to it, we don't want them to know that, right? We don't want to throw up red flags. So first thing we're gonna do is catit, which will output it for us so we can see what's in it. So credit card.txt. So keep in mind this is all on the host or on the machine that we've attacked. So okay, so it says my credit card number is 1234567 8. Okay, cool. So we got the credit card information we want by catting it, right? So now let's rerun. All right, we're all over the place here. All right, so we'll just hit enter and then we'll do that. So there's the same. We're gonna run the same thing. And if you see, because we didn't actually access it, it did not change the time stamps, okay? So that's why, because we catted it, we didn't actually like modify it, we didn't pull it up in Word, something like that. So that's interesting. That's good. We don't want them to see what we've done. So that's really good. Now, if we go ahead and another thing we can do here on meterpreter, which is really good, besides covering your tracks, so that time stomp it's time. It's actually time times 2 MP, but timestamp is what we call it. That timestamp will actually show you if you're leaving a trail, okay? And that's where you need to watch what you're doing. Meterpreter has ways to clean up your entries and clear your logs. But you need to watch what you're doing if you are doing an actual pen test and you're not supposed to get caught, right? That happens a lot where you want to see how far you can push it without getting caught because that's what a hacker's going to do, right? So this is where you would a system administrator or a cyber analyst, anything like that, would catch really fast that the time logs are changed. Like someone accessed this folder, but no one should have been on the system, or it's an account that shouldn't be used, etc., etc. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to download this. Okay, so we want to download it, and this is going to download it to our machine, not to the Windows machine. So we're going to download the credit card.txt, okay? And we're just going to download it. We don't really need to tell it where. It'll put it in our home. Okay, so there it tells you downloaded, boom, boom, download. So now let's see if we can find it. I think it puts it in home. There it is, credit card.txt. We open it. My credit card information, boom. So literally, we just downloaded and stole their credit card information, right? Theoretically. So now, let's go ahead and run that same thing to clear our tracks. So make sure, yep, timestamps are all the same, and those are timestamps that are different, or I mean are the exact same as they were before. We didn't add to them. Now, that's where you got to be careful because you don't want to look and just go, oh, all timestamps are the same, because yeah, they might be the same, but you might have accessed it, modified it, created all of that at the same time. So you don't want to just look at necessarily just that they're okay, these are all the same time, because they might not be the same time. Someone could have modified it long before someone or long after someone created it, etc., etc. I just happen to do it at the same time. So the download is a really cool or a really nice feature because you can take files directly off that machine that you've accessed and pull them back onto your system, right? Now, keep in mind that you're going to have admin access for some of these commands, right? So that's why the get UID will show you whether this is an admin, this is the name of the computer, and this is the username. So you want to make sure that you have admin access. It'll tell you permission denied if you don't, but if you don't, you need to do privilege escalation, and we're going to show you guys how to do that eventually. So, okay, so we went ahead. Now I'm going to show you guys a really cool one. This is probably one of my favorite ones because I do carry a lot of keyloggers in my bag, physical keyloggers. So this one's going to be key scan, and then you're going to do _start, okay? So this is going to basically put a software keylogger onto their machine, okay? So starting the keystroke sniffer, starting the keystroke sniffer, and we're just going to do notepad. We'll open up notepad, and we'll just say, hey guys, can you see what I'm typing? and then we'll just minimize that, and then we're just gonna do uh, it's key scan. Key scan dump. So we're just gonna do key scan underscore dump, and you can see note. So I click note, and then I hit the mouse button, and then hey guys, can you see what I'm typing? Okay, so that's pretty interesting right there. Okay, because that's a software keylogger that took us 30 seconds to set up. So if let's say if I have control of your machine, I already went through. I didn't really find anything necessarily, but I know that you log on to your bank every morning at 8 a.m. and start managing your accounts. Or I know you get on Facebook every morning at 8 a.m. and log in, right? I can watch, not only watch what you're doing, but I can watch you type in your name and passwords. Okay, that's where this is going. That's where it starts getting very kind of sketchy. Now, another thing you can do is just type idle time. So obviously there's 0 idle time because I'm on the machine, but this is kind of important if you're trying to learn patterns, number one. Number two, if let's say you get on the machine and the idle time is, forever, right? That's kind of good information because that computer doesn't turn off after so long. That computer's not shutting itself off if it's been idle time for 6 days. That's information that's all good, relevant information. Another thing is, if the idle time is a week, no one's been on that computer in a week, it's probably not monitored much. There's a lot of good information you can get from idle time. And meterpreter has a ton of. So there, I just went ahead and did a question mark just to show you guys. And meterpreter has a ton of commands that can really help. You can do hash dumps. The only reason I didn't do a hash dump on here is basically because I don't want to put my hash on the internet just for sake of it, I guess. So you can see keyboard send, so I can send keystrokes, so that's really cool. Like let's say we have this up, and then I don't know how it'd work with the VM. I'm not going to do it with the VM just because when I click off, it'll send the keystrokes to the VM. It won't make much sense. You can send key events. You can see here, this is just for the just some of the commands you can do. Set desktop, so you can change the interpreter's current desktop. Grab a screenshot. That's really good because let's say they're doing something, but you don't know what it is. You can set this up to do this every so often. Watch the remote user's desktop in real time. Screen share. I showed you guys a different way to do that yesterday. Again, I'm not going to do it on here just because it just looks real weird because I'm on that machine, so it like does that computer in a computer thing. Mouse events, all that stuff. You can do all kinds of stuff here. So clear the event log. So that's where clear events comes in, and that's where I said cover your tracks. The only problem with clearing events, okay, and keep this in mind, if you plan on not necessarily getting caught, but if you plan on they're going to know I was here, they're going to know I took this stuff, that's where you might want to clear the event log because they're not going to know what exactly you did. But if you're just trying to not ever have no one ever know you were there, clearing the event log is not going to work. The reason I say that is because if I was a system administrator and logged into a system and I checked the event logs and there are none, I'm going to know someone deleted those. And there's a reason for it. So now the investigation starts. Rather than if you are just touching a few files and you can edit the log, you might be better off. Execute a command, that's really good. You can see there's a lot going on here that you can do. You can reboot this computer, you can drop into a system command shell, boom, boom, boom. And this is just part of, meterpreter has a ton. Display the host ARP cache, that's really good if you want to do ARP poisoning later. You can view their routing tables, port forwarding, that's all really good. Let's see, what else, anything important here? Cat, we obviously know. Checksum, So checksum's another one that would be good if this file is monitored closely because you don't want to change that checksum no matter what, right? So you may do the checksum after or before you get in there, and do it after, and make sure you did not edit that file by any means. Let's see. What else do we got here? Background's the current session. That's just a meterpreter command. We all know that. Yeah, those are core commands. Okay. So yeah, this is just core commands. Those aren't actual. Yeah, so you can see there's a ton that you can do with meterpreter. The other really nice thing is you can actually, once you have a meterpreter session, you can actually upload payloads as you go. So you can really get privilege escalation, things like that. So this is just kind of a meterpreter lesson here on basic meterpreter stuff, what you can do and what you can't do. Keep in mind that you can see literally like you can get caught pretty quick if you don't know what you're doing. Like you can be messing with their system and visually they'll see it. Like for instance, the play an audio file. Like if you play that audio file, they're obviously going to know something's up, right? Same thing with record audio from the default microphone, start a video chat. They're obviously going to see you start a video chat. Webcam list, take a snapshot from the specified webcam. Play a video stream from the specified webcam. So you can get very weird with this and you can get caught very easily. The reason I say that is anyone that knows anything about webcams knows when it turns on, it's going to pop up with a light, right? So if I'm working on my computer and all of a sudden that light clicks on, I'm going to be freaked out for a second, right? So that's why I say, again, keep this stuff in mind when you guys are doing this, because obviously you should have permission, and you have to have permission legally. But even on a pen test, you're going to run into times where they ask you, try and not get caught, because we want to see how good our information security is, okay? So that's where, when you're using these, you got to be careful with what you're doing. Meterpreter owns that machine at that point. So to not get caught, make sure you guys are checking that time stamp, like I said. If you need an important file, instead of creating a backdoor that you can continuously get into, now granted, you do want to have continuous access depending on what you're doing, but instead of it, maybe download the file, stuff like that. Now keep in mind, this stuff has logs. So if you don't know how to delete those logs properly, you can get caught very easily. Now, keep this stuff in mind, but mess around with meterpreter. And then by the way, meterpreter will just exit. That's how you end it. But what I was saying is keep messing around with this stuff. Use it like I am. Just hack your own machine, and then just mess with it. Do what you can. Don't destroy your machine, but just mess around with it. Enjoy it. It's a really cool tool, something that you can really have fun with, especially if you and your friends are interested in this stuff. You guys can say, hey, I'm going to send you a fake email, and the link's going to be this meterpreter payload, right? Stuff like that. That's the type of stuff that you can do with permission and mess around with, and it's a lot of fun. So this is a build on yesterday's lab. Keep that in mind. If you don't know how I actually got that meterpreter shell, go back to yesterday's, watch the video. That video explains exactly how we built that shell and how we got there, okay? So keep that in mind, guys. Once again, if you guys like the videos, let me know. No, we're not going to save it. Let me know, and I'm going to keep uploading them, so make sure you guys hit that like button, and we are going to keep these CEH labs going. Thanks, guys.